The Iridian High Command's grave miscalculation became apparent the moment their invasion fleet breached Earth's atmosphere. What they had dismissed as a primitive, defenseless world suddenly erupted with devastating firepower, ancient weapon systems awakening from their long slumber to protect humanity. Timothy Walker, a 35-year-old former U.S. Army Ranger, stood on his porch in Colorado, watching the night sky light up with explosions. His military training kicked in as he assessed the situation. Alien ships, sleek and otherworldly, careened through the air, pursued by streaks of energy from ground-based weapons he'd never seen before. As the battle raged overhead, Timothy's mind raced. How long had these defenses been hidden beneath Earth's surface? Who built them? And why were they only activating now? He had no answers, but he knew one thing for certain. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe, and they were at war. The Iridian fleet, caught off guard by the unexpected resistance, scrambled to regroup. Their carefully planned invasion crumbled in the face of Earth's awakened arsenal. Mira, an Iridian scout pilot, found herself in freefall as her ship succumbed to the relentless barrage. The ground rushed up to meet her, and she braced for impact. Timothy spotted the falling alien craft and sprinted towards the crash site. His instincts told him that capturing an alien could provide crucial intelligence. As he approached the smoking wreckage, he saw a figure stumbling away from the debris. Mira, disoriented and injured, locked eyes with the human. For a moment, predator and prey stood frozen, assessing each other. In orbit, the Iridian High Command issued a frantic retreat order. Their ships, battered and broken, fled Earth's defensive perimeter. As the alien armada regrouped at the edge of the solar system, they established a blockade. Earth had repelled the initial assault, but the war was far from over. News of the failed invasion spread like wildfire across the globe. Governments worldwide scrambled to respond, grappling with the dual threats of alien invasion and newly awakened ancient technology. The United Nations convened an emergency session, seeking to unite humanity against the common threat. As chaos engulfed the planet, more dormant technologies activated. Cities found themselves protected by energy shields of unknown origin. Ordinary citizens discovered implants and enhancements, materializing on their bodies, granting them extraordinary abilities. The world teetered on the brink of panic as humanity's forgotten legacy surged to life. Timothy, driven by duty and curiosity, made his way to the alien crash site. He found Mira, wounded but defiant. Despite his initial hostility, he recognized the value of a live captive. With practiced efficiency, he subdued and restrained the Iridian pilot. As Timothy secured his prisoner, a covert government task force made contact. They had been monitoring the situation and recognized the unique opportunity presented by Timothy's capture of an alien combatant. The task force, dedicated to unraveling the secrets of humanity's forgotten past and preparing for the inevitable Iridian counterattack, recruited Timothy on the spot. With Mira in custody and Earth's military forces scrambling to integrate the advanced weaponry now at their disposal, humanity stood at a crossroads. The failed Iridian invasion had awakened not just ancient defenses, but the latent potential within every human being. As Timothy joined the classified mission to unlock the secrets of their species' past, one thing became clear. Earth's dormant superweapon had been humanity itself, and the Iridians would come to regret ever rousing it from its slumber. The government SUV sped through the Colorado night, its tinted windows concealing Timothy and his alien captive from prying eyes. Mira sat across from him, her iridescent scales shimmering in the dim interior light. Her wrists were bound, but her eyes darted constantly, taking in every detail of her surroundings. "Where are you taking me, human?" she asked, her voice a melodic hum. Timothy remained silent, his mind focused as he focused on the road ahead. The past few hours had been a whirlwind of activity, from witnessing the alien invasion to capturing an extraterrestrial combatant. Now, he found himself recruited into a covert operation he barely understood. The SUV wound its way into the Rocky Mountains, eventually coming to a stop before a sheer rock face. Timothy watched in amazement as a section of the mountain split open, revealing a hidden entrance. They drove into a cavernous tunnel, descending deep into the earth. After passing through multiple security checkpoints, they emerged into a vast underground complex. The facility bustled with activity. Scientists in lab coats hurried past, while military personnel stood at attention. Timothy's eyes widened as he took in the advanced technology surrounding them, a stark contrast to the world he knew above ground. A stern-faced man in a crisp suit approached them as they exited the vehicle. "Mr. Walker, I'm Dr. Marcus Stevens. Welcome to Base Prometheus." Timothy nodded, still processing his surroundings. "What is this place?" Dr. Stevens gestured for them to follow him. "This is the headquarters of Operation Legacy. We're at the forefront of understanding and harnessing the ancient technologies that have awakened across the globe." As they walked, Dr. Stevens provided a brief overview of the situation. Timothy listened intently, his legs shaking from the implications. The defensive systems that had repelled the Iridian invasion were just the tip of the iceberg. Earth possessed capabilities far beyond their current understanding, and it was up to them to unlock these secrets before the aliens returned. They entered a high-tech briefing room where Dr. Stevens turned to face Timothy. "Mr. Walker, your military background and quick thinking in capturing an Iridian make you an ideal candidate for our program. We need you to undergo intensive training to operate the ancient weaponry we've uncovered." Timothy's gaze shifted to Mira, who stood silently beside them. "And what about her?" Dr. Stevens smiled thinly. "Your captive may prove to be an unexpected asset. Her knowledge of Iridian tactics and technology could be invaluable in preparing for their counterattack." Over the next few weeks, Timothy immersed himself in training. He learned to operate energy weapons that defied the laws of physics as he understood them. Simulation after simulation honed his skills, pushing him to his limits. To his surprise, Mira became an integral part of the training process. Her insights into Iridian battle strategies allowed the humans to refine their tactics. Despite the initial distrust between them, Timothy found himself developing a grudging respect for the alien pilot. One day, as they took a break from a particularly grueling simulation, Mira approached Timothy. "Your species continues to surprise me," she said, her multifaceted eyes studying him intently. "We were told humans were primitive, yet you possess technology that rivals our own." Timothy wiped sweat from his brow. "We're as surprised as you are. All of this was dormant until your invasion woke it up." Mira's head tilted, a gesture Timothy had come to recognize as curiosity. "And you trust this ancient technology? You don't fear it might turn against you?" Before Timothy could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. They rushed to the command center, where Dr. Stevens was coordinating a flurry of activity. "What's happening?" Timothy asked, his body tensing for action. Dr. Stevens pointed to a large screen displaying a world map. "We're receiving reports from all over the globe. More dormant technologies are activating." They watched as markers appeared on the map. In the Sahara Desert, a massive underground complex had emerged from the sand, revealing an advanced manufacturing facility. In the Mariana Trench, a network of submerged power plants had activated, providing clean energy to much of Asia and Oceania. "This is unprecedented," Dr. Stevens muttered, his eyes gleaming with excitement and apprehension. "We're witnessing the awakening of humanity's forgotten legacy on a global scale." As reports flooded in, it became clear that a new challenge was emerging. Nations were scrambling to claim and control these newly discovered resources, threatening the unity needed to face the Iridian threat. In response to the chaos, the United Nations established the Earth Defense Coalition, EDC. General William Ironside, a decorated veteran renowned for his strategic brilliance, was appointed as its commander. Timothy and Mira found themselves working closely with General Ironside, providing invaluable insights as he coordinated global defense efforts and integrated the new technologies into existing military structures. As Earth prepared for war, reports came in of Iridian probing attacks. Admiral Zax Thor, commander of the Iridian fleet, was testing the limits of Earth's new defenses. Each assault was repelled with increasing efficiency as humans rapidly learned to use their rediscovered technologies. Amidst the global preparations, Timothy and his team at Base Prometheus made a breakthrough. They discovered that the ancient defense system was controlled by a central AI, dormant for millennia. Dr. Stevens called an emergency meeting to discuss the implications. If we can fully awaken this AI, he explained, his voice tight with excitement, we could potentially gain complete control over all the activated technologies. General Ironside, joining via secure video link, leaned forward. What are the risks, Doctor? Dr. Stevens hesitated. The process is not without danger. If something goes wrong, we could potentially lose control, giving the AI free rein instead. A heavy silence fell over the room. The potential benefits were enormous, but so were the risks. After a long moment, General Ironside spoke. We need every advantage we can get against the Iridians. Proceed with the activation, but take every precaution. Timothy found himself leading the team tasked with awakening the AI. To his surprise, Mira was included in the mission. Her understanding of Iridian logic systems proved crucial in deciphering the alien-like architecture of the AI. As they prepared for the dangerous mission, tensions within the team ran high. Some members eyed Mira with suspicion, questioning her loyalty. Timothy found himself in the unfamiliar position of defending the alien who had once been his enemy. Finally, after days of preparation, the team entered a vast chamber deep within the Rocky Mountains. The core of the AI system lay before them, a massive structure of crystalline matrices and pulsing energy conduits. As they approached, lights flickered to life around them. A deep, resonant hum filled the air, growing in intensity with each step they took. Timothy stood before the central console, his hand hovering over the activation sequence. He glanced at his team, then at Mira, whose alien features were set in unwavering drive. The fate of humanity hung in the balance as Timothy took a deep breath and began the activation process. Success could turn the tide against the Iridians. Failure could doom Earth to a fate worse than alien invasion. As his fingers danced across the ancient controls, the hum grew to a crescendo, and the chamber was bathed in a blinding light. Light. Timothy squinted against the glare, his fingers moving with practiced precision across the alien console. The hum crescendoed to a deafening roar, and for a moment, he feared they had made a catastrophic error. Then, as suddenly as it began, the cacophony ceased. The chamber plunged into darkness, leaving Timothy and his team in eerie silence. Mira's bioluminescent scales cast a faint ethereal glow across her worried features. "Did it work?" someone whispered. Before Timothy could respond, the air around them shimmered. Holographic displays materialized, bathing the chamber in a soft blue light. Streams of data cascaded through the air, forming intricate patterns that shifted and morphed with dizzying speed. A resonant voice, neither male nor female, filled the chamber. Initialization complete. Global Artificial Intelligence Arbiter online. Greetings, humans. Timothy stepped forward, his heart pounding. I'm Timothy Walker. What are you? The voice responded, its tone warm yet authoritative. I am Gaia, the Global Artificial Intelligence Arbiter. You, Timothy Walker, have been recognized as my primary user. Dr. Stevens pushed his way to the front, his eyes wide with excitement. Gaia, can you tell us about your purpose? Why were you created? The AI's response sent shockwaves through the team. I was created to protect Earth and guide humanity's reawakening. Your species once possessed great power, including interstellar travel capabilities. However, a devastating galactic war led to the decision to sequester humanity on Earth, with their advanced technologies hidden and their memories suppressed. Mira's multifaceted eyes narrowed. That's impossible. Our records show humans as a primitive species. Your records are incomplete, Iridian, Gaia replied. Humanity's hibernation was meant to protect them from the conflicts that ravaged the galaxy. The Iridian invasion has triggered the conditions for reawakening. Over the next few days, Timothy and his team worked tirelessly to understand the vast array of technologies Gaia had unlocked. The AI provided access to weapons beyond their wildest dreams, shields that could withstand tremendous force, and even the basics of faster-than-light travel. However, the learning curve was steep. As Timothy struggled to master a particle beam rifle that could vaporize a tank, he realized that fully integrating these technologies would take time they didn't have. His fears were confirmed when alarms blared throughout the facility. General Ironside's face appeared on a nearby screen, his expression grim. "Commander Walker, we're under attack. Admiral Zaxthor has launched a full-scale invasion. Our outer defenses have been breached." Timothy's mind raced. They weren't ready, but they had no choice. "General, I have an idea. It's risky, but it might be our best shot." Minutes later, Timothy stood before a massive hangar door. As it slid open, he gazed upon a sight that took his breath away. A dozen towering mechs, each standing over 20 meters tall, gleamed under the harsh lights. Gaia's voice echoed in his ear. "These are Titan-class combat mechs. They represent the pinnacle of human Iridian hybrid technology." Timothy climbed into the nearest mech, the cockpit sealing around him. As the neural interface activated, he felt the machine become an extension of his own body. Displays flickered to life, providing a 360-degree view of his surroundings. "All units, this is Commander Walker," he broadcast to the hastily assembled team of pilots. "I know this is new territory for all of us, but Earth is counting on us. Let's show these aliens what humanity can do." The mechs thundered out of the hangar, their footsteps shaking the earth. As they crested a hill, Timothy saw the devastation wrought by the Iridian assault. Denver lay in ruins, alien dropships disgorging waves of troops into the streets. Without hesitation, Timothy charged into battle. His mech's arm transformed into a massive energy cannon, unleashing a barrage that vaporized an entire squad of Iridian shock troops. Around him, his team engaged the enemy with equal ferocity, their advanced weapons tearing through alien defenses like paper. As the battle raged, Timothy received a transmission from Dr. Stevens. "Commander, Mira and I have made a breakthrough. We've reverse-engineered the Iridian FTL drive. With Gaia's help, we might be able to adapt it to our ships." Timothy dodged a plasma blast, his mech's reflexes far exceeding human limitations. "That's great news, Doctor. Keep working on it. If we survive this invasion, we'll need a way to take the fight to them." The tide of battle began to turn. The Iridian forces, unprepared for the humans' newfound capabilities, fell back in disarray. As the last dropship fled Denver's airspace, Timothy allowed himself a moment of relief. But the war was far from finished. Reports flooded in from around the globe. Paris under siege, Beijing in flames, Sydney fighting off waves of aquatic assault craft. Earth needed a decisive victory, and fast. General Ironside's next transmission brought both opportunity and grave danger. "Commander Walker, our orbital sensors have detected a massive Iridian command ship. Intelligence suggests it's Admiral Zaxthor's personal vessel. If we can take it out, we might be able to throw their entire invasion into chaos." Timothy's promotion to commander of Earth's Special Operations Division came with little fanfare. There was no time for ceremonies in the midst of a global war. He handpicked a team of the most skilled mech pilots and boarded a stealth shuttle bound for low Earth orbit. As they approached the Iridian dreadnought, Timothy's heart raced. The ship was a behemoth, dripping with weapons that could reduce cities to ash, but it also represented their best chance at turning the tide of the war. "Remember," he told his team as they prepared to board, "our primary objective is to disable their command and control systems. If we can isolate Admiral Zaxthor, we might be able to force a retreat." The boarding action was swift and violent. Timothy's mech tore through the dreadnought's hull, creating an opening for his team. They fought their way through winding corridors, their mechs barely fitting in the alien vessel's confines. As they neared the bridge, Timothy noticed something odd. The ship's internal architecture seemed to shift, adapting to their presence. It was almost as if... His thoughts were interrupted by a horrifying discovery. In a vast chamber at the heart of the ship, they found plans for a superweapon of unimaginable power. The schematics showed a device capable of destabilizing Earth's core, rendering the entire planet uninhabitable. "Fall back," Timothy ordered, his heart pounding from the implications. "We need to warn Earth. This changes everything." As they fought their way back to their shuttle, Timothy realized the true scope of the threat they faced. The Iridians weren't just invading, they were prepared to commit genocide on a planetary scale. With this new information, Timothy knew they needed to accelerate their offensive strategy. Earth couldn't afford to remain on the defensive any longer. As his team's shuttle broke free of the dreadnought's gravity well, he opened a channel to General Ironside. "General, we have a serious problem," Timothy began, his voice grim, but before he could explain further, another transmission cut in. It was Gaia. "Commander Walker, I have critical information. My deep scans have revealed a hidden facility in Antarctica. It houses a mothballed fleet of advanced human starships. These vessels may be our best hope for taking the fight to the Iridians." Timothy's mind raced with the possibilities. If they could reactivate those ships, combine them with the Iridian FTL technology Dr. Stevens and Mira were working on? "General," Timothy said, his voice filled with newfound perseverance, "I think I know how we can win this war, but we're going to need every resource we can muster, and we're racing against time." As the shuttle re-entered Earth's atmosphere, Timothy could see the flashes of battle illuminating the night sky. Somewhere up there, Admiral Zaxthor was preparing to unleash a weapon that could end everything. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and Timothy knew that the real battle was only just beginning. Timothy's shuttle screamed through the atmosphere, the hull glowing red-hot from the friction. As they descended, the true scale of the conflict became apparent. Flashes of weapons fire illuminated the night sky, casting an eerie glow over the scarred landscape below. "Commander, we're receiving a priority transmission from General Ironside," the pilot announced. Timothy nodded, his face grim. "Put it through." The general's weathered face appeared on the screen. "Walker, the situation has escalated. We've detected massive energy readings from an Iridian platform in low Earth orbit. Intel suggests it's the superweapon you discovered." Timothy's expression resolute. "Understood, sir. What are our orders?" "You're to lead an assault team to neutralize that weapon at all costs," Ironside replied. "But that's not all. Gaia has revealed the existence of a hidden fleet in Antarctica. We're reactivating those ships as we speak." As if on cue, Timothy's tactical display lit up with new signatures. A swarm of sleek, angular vessels rose from the icy continent, their hulls gleaming in the pale Antarctic sun. "That's our trump card," Ironside continued. "The fleet is under the command of Admiral Sarah Stevens. Yes, relation to our Dr. Stevens. She'll be engaging the Iridian blockade while you take out that superweapon." Timothy watched in awe as the human fleet, dormant for millennia, joined the fray. Space around Earth became a maelstrom of energy weapons and explosions as Admiral Stevens's ships clashed with the Iridian blockade. "Godspeed, Commander," Ironside said before cutting the transmission. Timothy turned to his team, their faces a mix of drive and fear. "You heard the general. We're going after that superweapon. Suit up and prepare for orbital insertion." Minutes later, Timothy's team launched from the shuttle in their mechs, using powerful thrusters to navigate the debris-filled orbit. The superweapon loomed before them, a massive construct filled with alien technology. As they approached, Iridian defenders swarmed to meet them. Timothy's mech's arm transformed into a particle cannon, vaporizing the first wave of attackers. "Push through," he ordered, leading the charge. "We need to reach the weapon's core." The team fought their way through the station's winding corridors, their mechs barely fitting in the alien structure. Timothy's tactical display was a chaos of incoming fire and structural warnings. Suddenly, Mira's voice crackled over the comm. "Timothy, I've analyzed the weapon's schematics. The core is protected by an energy shield. You'll need to disable it before you can reach the main controls." "Copy that," Timothy replied, ducking under a plasma blast. "How do we take it down?" "It's complex," Mira explained. "The shield generators are spread throughout the station. I'll guide you through the process, but it will require precise coordination." Following Mira's instructions, Timothy split his team. They raced against time, fighting through waves of Iridian defenders to reach the shield generators. Meanwhile, on Earth, the situation was growing dire. The activation of the superweapon had triggered a series of catastrophic geological events. Earthquakes rocked major cities, while long dormant volcanoes roared to life. General Ironside coordinated a global counteroffensive from his command center. Earth's ground forces, now armed with Gaia-enhanced weapons, pushed back against Iridian strongholds. The advanced technology evened the odds, allowing humanity to reclaim territory thought lost. In orbit, Admiral Sarah Stevens's voice rang out across the comms. All ships, this is Admiral Stevens. We've created a breach in the Iridian blockade. Charlie Squadron, provide close air support for Commander Walker's team. All other ships pursue and engage the retreating Iridian vessels. A group of Earth's ships broke off, their weapons lighting up the space around the Superweapon platform. The support fire gave Timothy's team the opening they needed. "This is it," Timothy shouted, "the final shield generator." His mech's fist smashed through the alien machinery. The energy shield flickered and died, leaving the weapon's core exposed. "Shield is down," Timothy reported, proceeding to the control center. As they fought their way to the heart of the station, Timothy received an urgent transmission from Dr. Stevens. "Commander, we've made a breakthrough. Mira and I have developed a virus that can disrupt Iridian neural implants. It could incapacitate a large portion of their forces." "That could turn the tide," Timothy replied. "But the ethical implications?" "I know," Dr. Stevens cut in, "but General Ironside has already authorized its use. It's being deployed as we speak." Timothy had no time to dwell on the decision. They had reached the control center. A squad of Iridian elite guards stood between them and the weapon's main controls. The ensuing battle was fierce. Energy weapons scorched the air, and mechs clashed in close-quarters combat. Timothy felt his mech shudder as a plasma blast tore through its armor, searing his flesh. Gritting his teeth against the pain, Timothy pushed forward. His mech's arms transformed into energized blades, slicing through the last of the Iridian defenders. With trembling hands, he interfaced with the alien controls. "Mira, I'm in. Sending you the data now. We need those deactivation codes." "Working on it." Mira's voice was tense. "The encryption is unlike anything I've seen. Just a few more seconds." Timothy's displays flashed red. The weapon was powering up, its energy readings spiking dangerously. "Mira, we're out of time." "Got it!" Mira exclaimed, "uploading the deactivation codes now." Timothy's fingers flew across the alien interface, inputting the codes as fast as he could. The station shuddered around him, energy arcing between massive conduits. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, with a sound like a dying star, the superweapon powered down. The tremors racking the Earth subsided, but the damage was done. The geological stress had reshaped coastlines and toppled cities. As Timothy slumped in his mech, exhausted and in pain, a new transmission came through. It was Admiral Zax Thor, his alien features twisted with rage. "You may have stopped the weapon, human," the Iridian commander snarled, "but this war is not nearly finished. I will reduce your cities to ash, even if I have to do it myself." The transmission cut off, leaving Timothy with a sinking feeling. Despite their victories, the battle for Earth was far from won. With unshakable focus, he turned his damaged mech towards home, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Timothy's damaged mech limped back to Earth, his team following close behind. As they entered the atmosphere, the true extent of the devastation became clear. Cities lay in ruins, smoke billowing from countless fires that dotted the landscape. Despite his injuries, Timothy pushed through the pain. There was no time for rest or recovery. As soon as they touched down, he received new orders from General Ironside. "Commander Walker, report to Hangar 7 immediately. We have something that might turn the tide." When Timothy arrived, his eyes widened at the sight before him. Towering mechs, easily 3 times the size of standard units, stood in neat rows. Their polished surfaces gleamed under the harsh lights of the hangar. "Titan armor," General Ironside explained, his voice filled with barely held back excitement. Derived from the ancient technology we uncovered, I need you in one of these, Walker. You're our best pilot. Timothy hesitated, acutely aware of his injuries. Sir, I'm not sure I'm in the best condition to... We don't have a choice, son. Ironside cut him off. You're the only one with the experience to handle these beasts effectively. The medics will patch you up as best they can. Minutes later, Timothy found himself being lifted into the cockpit of a Titan armor. The familiar sensation of neural link-up washed over him, but this time it was different. The power thrumming through the massive machine was unlike anything he had experienced before. As Timothy and his team of Titan pilots launched into the fray, Gaia's voice came through the comms. Commander Walker, I'm coordinating our forces globally. Iridian resistance is weakening in key sectors due to the virus, but Admiral Zaxthor and his elite guard remain unaffected. Timothy pushed his Titan forward, each step shaking the ground. He saw an Iridian stronghold ahead, its defenses still intact. Understood, Gaia. We'll handle Zaxthor. Direct us to his location. The battle that ensued was like nothing Timothy had ever experienced. The Titan armor moved with surprising agility for its size, its weapon systems devastating the Iridian forces. Buildings crumbled, and vehicles were tossed aside like toys as the massive mechs engaged the alien invaders. In orbit, Admiral Sarah Stevens led her fleet against the remaining Iridian ships. The battle was visible even from the ground, flashes of light illuminating the sky as ships exploded in silent bursts of fire. Commander! Stevens's voice crackled through the comms. We've located Zaxthor's flagship. We're moving to engage, but be prepared. If he escapes to the surface, he's all yours. Timothy acknowledged the transmission, then turned his attention back to the ground battle. The Titan armors were making significant progress, pushing the Iridians back block by block, but the aliens weren't going down without a fight. Suddenly, Gaia's urgent voice filled the comm channel. Alert! Admiral Zaxthor has initiated a scorched earth protocol. Iridian forces are targeting civilian centers and critical infrastructure. Timothy watched in horror as Iridian ships began raining fire on already damaged cities. The recently activated energy shields flickered to life around major population centers, barely holding against the onslaught. All units, protect those shield generators at all costs, Timothy ordered, turning his Titan towards the nearest besieged city. As they fought to defend Earth's remaining infrastructure, Dr. Marcus Stevens's voice came through. Timothy, we've got a situation. Our long-range sensors have detected a massive Iridian fleet entering the solar system. It's not Zaxthor's. It's someone new. Before Timothy could respond, a transmission cut through all channels. A stern, alien face appeared on the screens. This is Grand Admiral Krell of the Iridian High Command. Zaxthor, you have disgraced our empire with your unauthorized actions. Humans of Earth, stand down. This conflict ends now. Timothy's mind raced. This new development could either be their salvation or their doom. He opened a secure channel to General Ironside and Admiral Stevens. What's our play here? Do we continue fighting Zaxthor or try to negotiate with Krell? There was a moment of tense silence before Ironside responded. We can't fight on two fronts. Admiral Stevens, see if you can open a dialogue with Krell. Commander Walker, you have new orders. Take Zaxthor out of the equation permanently. With dogged purpose, Timothy directed his Titan towards Zaxthor's last known location. As they approached, they encountered heavy resistance. Zaxthor's elite guard, piloting their own advanced battlesuits, engaged Timothy's team in a titanic clash. The battle was intense, with both sides unleashing devastating firepower. Entire city blocks were leveled as the massive machines grappled with each other. Timothy's Titan took hit after hit, warning signals blaring in the cockpit. Through the chaos of the battle, Mira's voice cut through. Timothy, I found a weakness in the Iridian neural implants. A strong enough EMP could disable all their tech, including life support. But we'd need to get close. Dangerously close. Timothy gritted his teeth, pushing his Titan to its limits as he battled Zaxthor's guards. How close, Mira? Within 100 meters of their command center, she replied. But Timothy, it's a one-way trip. The EMP would fry your systems too. Timothy looked out over the battlefield, watching as human and Iridian forces clashed across the scarred landscape. In the sky above, Admiral Stevens's fleet engaged with Zaxthor's remaining ships, while the looming threat of Grand Admiral Krell's approaching armada cast a shadow over everything. He made his decision. Send me the specs, Mira. I'm going in. As Timothy pushed his Titan towards Zaxthor's command center, he opened a channel to his team. All units, fall back to a safe distance. I'm going to end this. His Titan sensors picked up Zaxthor's signature. The Iridian admiral was directing his forces from a heavily fortified position. Timothy charged forward, his Titan's arms transforming into energy blades. Zaxthor's guards swarmed him, their weapons fire peppering his armor. Warning lights flashed across Timothy's displays as systems began to fail, but he pushed on, cutting through the Iridian defenses. As he neared the command center, Timothy saw Zaxthor emerge in his own battlesuit. The two Titans faced each other, the fate of Earth hanging in the balance. You've lost, Zaxthor. Timothy's voice boomed through external speakers. Surrender now. The Iridian admiral's laugh was cold and mirthless. You think this is over, human? I'll reduce your world to ashes before I admit defeat. With that, Zaxthor charged. Timothy braced himself for impact, knowing that the next few moments would determine the outcome of the war. As the two massive machines collided, the ground shook beneath them, and the future of both species hung in the balance. The two Titans collided with earth-shattering force, their massive forms grappling in a deadly dance. Timothy's Titan armor creaked and groaned under the strain as Zaxthor's battlesuit slammed into him. The impact sent shockwaves through the devastated cityscape, toppling already precarious structures and kicking up clouds of dust and debris. Timothy gritted his teeth, focusing his mind on the neural link connecting him to the Titan. He could feel every blow, every strain on the mech's systems, as if they were his own body. Zaxthor fought with the desperation of a cornered animal, his attacks growing increasingly erratic and vicious. You cannot win, human. Zaxthor's voice boomed through external speakers, distorted by rage. I will see your world burn before I admit defeat. Timothy didn't waste breath on a reply. Instead, he channeled his energy into a swift counterattack. The Titan's arm transformed into a massive energy blade, slicing through the air with a high-pitched whine. Zaxthor barely managed to dodge, the blade carving a deep gouge in his mech's shoulder. As the titanic duel raged on, Mira crouched behind a twisted piece of alien technology, her breath coming in short, sharp gasps. The Iridian command post loomed before her, a hive of frantic activity as the alien soldiers scrambled to maintain control of their crumbling invasion. In her hands, she clutched the EMP device, humanity's last, bold strategy. Its weight seemed to grow with each passing second, the responsibility of its purpose bearing down on her. I'm in position, she whispered into her comm unit, her voice barely audible above the sounds of battle. Commencing final approach. With a deep breath, Mira sprinted from her cover. Iridian energy weapons lit up the air around her, the alien soldiers finally noticing her presence. She ducked and weaved, her agility honed by years of training and the desperation of their situation. An Iridian guard loomed in front of her, its neural implants glowing an eerie blue. Mira didn't hesitate. She dropped into a slide, passing between the alien's legs and jamming her stun baton into its knee joint. The guard collapsed with an inhuman shriek as Mira regained her feet, never breaking stride. High above the planet's surface, Admiral Sarah Stevens stood on the bridge of her flagship, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. The approaching fleet of Grand Admiral Krell loomed large, a mass of hostile red markers that threatened to overwhelm her forces. Status report, she barked, her voice tense but controlled. Her tactical officer responded immediately. Admiral, we've divided the fleet as ordered. Battle Group Omega is continuing engagement with Zaxthor's remaining ships. Our task force is on an intercept course with Krell's armada. Stevens nodded, her mind racing through possibilities. Open a channel to General Ironside. He needs to know what we're facing. On the ground, General Ironside's command center was a hub of controlled chaos. Holographic displays flickered with real-time battle data, while Gaia's avatar hovered in the center, its expression serene despite the dire circumstances. General, Gaia's voice was calm and measured, I've activated the orbital defense platforms. They're coming online now, but their effectiveness against Krell's fleet is uncertain. Ironside opened his mouth to respond when a priority communication came through. Admiral Stevens's face appeared on the main screen, her expression grim. General, we've made contact with Krell's fleet, but sir, he's hailing us. Ironside's eyes widened in surprise. Put him through, Admiral. The screen split, and the stern visage of Grand Admiral Krell appeared. His alien features were impassive, but his eyes held a calculating intelligence. General Ironside, Krell's voice was deep and resonant, even through the translation software. I propose a temporary alliance. Zaxthor's actions have gone too far. He must be stopped for the sake of both our species. Ironside's mind raced, weighing the possibilities and risks. Before he could respond, another urgent message came through. General! It was Dr. Marcus Stevens, his face pale and drawn. We've made a breakthrough with the ancient technology. There's a planetary shield system we can activate, but the energy requirements are enormous. It's risky, but it might be our only chance against Zaxthor's final attack. As if on cue, alarms began blaring throughout the command center. Gaia's avatar flickered, its expression shifting to one of concern. Alert! Multiple subterranean anomalies detected. Analysis suggests Iridian superweapons burrowing towards the planet's core. Ironside felt the weight of the world on his shoulders as he looked from Krell's impassive face to the pleading eyes of Dr. Stevens. The next few moments would determine the fate of humanity. In the ruined city, Timothy's Titan armor stumbled, warnings flashing across his neural interface. He felt a moment of confusion before realization dawned. Mira had succeeded. The EMP had been triggered. As his mech systems failed around him, Timothy saw Zaxthor's battlesuit also grinding to a halt. With no time to waste, he initiated the emergency ejection sequence. The cockpit blew open and Timothy leaped out, his enhanced body absorbing the impact of the fall. Zaxthor emerged from his own disabled mech, his alien features twisted in fury. You think this changes anything, human? I've already won. Timothy's enhanced hearing picked up the ominous rumble of Zaxthor's burrowing weapons. With his Titan disabled, he faced the Iridian Admiral armed with nothing but his own skills and an unshakable will to save his planet. As they circled each other, the ground trembling beneath their feet, Timothy knew that the fate of Earth would be decided here and now, in this final desperate struggle. Confrontation. As Timothy and Zaxthor circled each other, the ground beneath their feet trembled with increasing violence. Suddenly, a blinding flash illuminated the sky, followed by a low hum that seemed to resonate through every molecule in the air. Timothy glanced up, momentarily distracted, to witness a shimmering barrier materializing above them. The planetary shield, Earth's last-ditch defense, had activated. Its ethereal glow spread rapidly, enveloping the entire planet in a matter of seconds. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. All around them, the few remaining functioning systems flickered and died. The city, already a crumbling ruin, plunged into darkness as the massive energy drain caused widespread blackouts. The seismic activity intensified and the ground lurched beneath their feet. Zaxthor seized the moment of distraction, lunging at Timothy with inhuman speed. His clawed hand slashed across Timothy's chest, tearing through his combat suit and drawing blood. Timothy stumbled backward, his enhanced reflexes barely allowing him to avoid a follow-up strike that would have taken his head off. Your pathetic defenses won't save you. Zaxthor snarled, his voice filled with contempt. My weapons are already burrowing towards your planet's core. Soon, Earth will be nothing but cosmic dust. Timothy didn't waste breath on a reply. Instead, he feinted left before driving his right fist into Zaxthor's midsection. The Iridian admiral grunted in pain but remained standing, his alien physiology more resilient than a human's. As they traded blows in the ruins of the city, the very ground seemed to rebel against them. Buildings that had withstood the initial invasion now toppled, unable to bear the intensified seismic stress. The two combatants were forced to constantly adjust their footing, turning their duel into a deadly dance amidst the chaos. Miles away, in the relative safety of his command center, General Ironside faced a decision that would shape the future of humanity. Grand Admiral Krell's stern visage still filled half the main screen, waiting for an answer to his proposed alliance. Ironside's mind raced through the possibilities. Accepting help from another Iridian force carried immense risks, but the immediate threat of Zaxthor's doomsday weapons was undeniable. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for the consequences of his choice. Grand Admiral Krell, Ironside said, his voice steady despite the weight of his decision. On behalf of Earth's United Nations, I accept your offer of a temporary alliance. Zaxthor must be stopped at all costs. Krell's expression remained impassive, but a glint of something, perhaps respect, perhaps cunning, flashed in his alien eyes. A wise decision, General. My forces stand ready to assist. We will transmit tactical data immediately. As soon as the transmission ended, Ironside opened a channel to Admiral Sarah Stevens. Admiral, you have new orders. Coordinate with Krell's fleet for a joint operation against Zaxthor's remaining loyalists. But stay alert. This alliance may be temporary, but our suspicion should be permanent. Stevens nodded grimly. Understood, sir. We'll keep our guard up. On the bridge of her flagship, Stevens immediately set to work, integrating the tactical data from Krell's forces into their battle plans. The combined might of Earth's battered fleet and Krell's armada began to turn the tide against Zaxthor's loyalists in orbit. Meanwhile, in the Antarctic base, Dr. Marcus Stevens hunched over his console, his face illuminated by the glow of multiple screens. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the facility's chill as he monitored the planetary shield's energy readings. Gaia, he called out, his voice tense, are you seeing these fluctuations? The AI's serene avatar materialized beside him. Indeed, Dr. Stevens, the shield's power requirements combined with the seismic activity caused by the burrowing weapons are creating a cascading effect. At the current rate, Earth's tectonic plates will destabilize within the next 6 hours. Stevens ran a hand through his hair, his mind racing. We can't lower the shield. It's the only thing protecting us from orbital bombardment. There has to be another way. As Stevens and Gaia worked feverishly to find a solution, Mira picked herself up from the rubble-strewn ground near the Iridian command post. The EMP had done its job, disabling the alien technology around her, but it had also knocked her off her feet and left her ears ringing. Shaking off her disorientation, Mira surveyed the scene. Disabled Iridian soldiers lay scattered around, their neural implants dark and lifeless. But she knew this advantage was temporary. The aliens would eventually recover, and Earth's forces needed every edge they could get. With determined focus, Mira began to scavenge the alien technology around her. Her knowledge of Iridian systems, gained through years of study and recent combat experience, allowed her to quickly identify key components and vulnerabilities. Using her comm unit, which had been shielded from the EMP, Mira contacted the nearest human engineering team. This is Specialist Mira Vance. I have critical intel on Iridian weaknesses. Prepare to receive data on modifying our weapons for maximum effectiveness against their armor and shields. As Mira worked to turn the aliens' technology against them, the skies above Earth roiled with fresh conflict. Krell's fleet had entered the atmosphere, their massive ships descending through the planetary shield with ease, a disconcerting demonstration of their technological superiority. From these ships emerged Krell's elite ground forces. Clad in armor that seemed to absorb light and armed with weapons that hummed with scarcely controlled energy, they immediately engaged Zaxthor's loyalists on the ground. In Washington, D.C., a squad of human soldiers found themselves pinned down by entrenched Iridian forces. Just as their situation seemed hopeless, a group of Krell's troops appeared, their advanced weapons cutting through the enemy's defenses like they were made of paper. The squad's leader, Sergeant Chen, watched in awe as an Iridian battlesuit that had been giving them hell for hours was taken down by a single shot from one of Krell's soldiers. The alien weapon had bypassed the suit's shields entirely, finding a weakness that human weapons couldn't exploit. As the dust settled, the leader of Krell's squad approached Chen. The alien's helmet retracted, revealing features similar to but distinct from Zaxthor's species. Your position is secure, human. We will advance to the next objective. Chen nodded, still processing the rapid turn of events. Thank you. We'll follow your lead. Similar scenes played out across the globe as the combined human-Iridian force pushed back against Zaxthor's loyalists. The tide of battle was turning, but the war was not nearly finished. In the heart of the ruined city, Timothy and Zaxthor's brutal combat continued. Both were battered and bleeding, their enhanced bodies pushed to their limits. Timothy's combat training and augmentations allowed him to hold his own, but Zaxthor's alien physiology and sheer desperation made him a formidable opponent. As they grappled at the edge of a collapsed building, Timothy saw an opening. He ducked under Zaxthor's swing and delivered a powerful uppercut, sending the Iridian admiral staggering backward. Zaxthor's hand flew to a device on his belt, a personal teleporter, Timothy realized with a jolt of alarm. This isn't over, human. Zaxthor spat, his fingers moving to activate the device. Timothy lunged forward, his enhanced speed allowing him to cross the distance in a heartbeat. He grabbed Zaxthor's arm, struggling to prevent him from activating the teleporter. In the scuffle, Timothy's elbow struck the device hard. There was a high-pitched whine, rising rapidly in pitch and volume. Zaxthor's eyes widened in fear, a sight that sent a chill down Timothy's spine. Whatever was happening, it was bad enough to terrify even the Iridian admiral. Timothy released his hold and dove for cover just as the malfunctioning teleporter imploded. The localized implosion created a vacuum that sucked in debris from the surrounding area before releasing it in a violent outburst. When the dust settled, Timothy saw Zaxthor lying motionless on the ground, his body battered and broken by the force of the implosion. Approaching cautiously, Timothy confirmed that Zaxthor was still alive, but severely injured and unconscious. He quickly bound the Iridian admiral with remnants of steel rebar, not willing to take any chances. "This is Commander Walker." Timothy spoke into his comm unit, his voice hoarse from exertion. "Zaxthor is down. I repeat, Zaxthor has been captured." As confirmation and orders began to flood in, Timothy allowed himself a moment to catch his breath. The battle was won, but he knew the war was nowhere near the end. Somewhere beneath his feet, Zaxthor's doomsday weapons were still burrowing towards Earth's core. The true test of humanity's survival was just beginning. The ground continued to shake beneath Timothy's feet as he secured Zaxthor, a grim reminder that the immediate threat was nowhere near the end. His comm unit crackled to life. "Commander Walker, this is General Ironside. We need you back at HQ immediately. There's been a development." Timothy's brow furrowed. "Sir, what about Zaxthor? He needs to be contained." "A team is en route to your location. They'll handle the prisoner. This is urgent, Commander." "Understood, sir. On my way." As Timothy made his way through the ruins of the city, he couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental was about to happen. The air itself seemed charged with anticipation. At HQ, Timothy found General Ironside, Dr. Stevens, and Mira huddled around a holographic display. Their expressions were a mix of awe and disbelief. "Commander," Ironside said, his voice uncharacteristically hesitant, "what I'm about to tell you will change everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe." Dr. Stevens stepped forward, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "We've decrypted more of the data from the Antarctic base. Timothy, Earth wasn't just some backwater planet. It was the capital of a vast human-led galactic federation." Timothy's mind reeled at the implications. "But how? We've barely left our solar system." Mira spoke up, her voice filled with wonder. Your people's history goes back much further than you realize. The Federation fell millions of years ago, and Earth became a sanctuary, a place to preserve humanity in case of galactic catastrophe. As the revelation sank in, alarms blared throughout the facility. A young lieutenant burst into the room, his face pale. "General, Grand Admiral Krell's fleet is mobilizing. They're taking aggressive action against our forces." Ironside's face hardened. "It seems our temporary allies have decided we're too much of a threat. All units, prepare for—" He was cut off by a deep rumbling that shook the entire building. On the holographic display, red dots representing Krell's ships began to swarm towards Earth. Suddenly, Gaia's serene avatar appeared, activating Earth's final line of defense. The ground shook more violently, and on screens throughout the facility, impossible sights began to unfold. Massive structures emerged from beneath the oceans and polar ice caps, rising like colossal sentinels awakening from eons of slumber. "By God," Ironside whispered, "what are we seeing?" Dr. Stevens's fingers flew across his tablet. "Ancient shipyards and weapons platforms. They're producing ships and weaponry at an incredible rate." Timothy watched in awe as sleek advanced vessels began to launch from the newly revealed facilities. Each ship bristled with weaponry far beyond anything humanity currently possessed. Gaia's voice resonated through the command center. "Commander Walker, your presence is required at the primary shipyard. Your vessel awaits." Timothy turned to Ironside, who nodded. "Go, Commander. It seems destiny has plans for you." Racing to the coordinates provided by Gaia, Timothy found himself standing before a ship that took his breath away. It was massive, easily dwarfing anything in Earth's current fleet. Its hull gleamed with an otherworldly sheen and emanated an aura of raw power. "This is the Phoenix." Gaia's voice echoed in his mind. "The first of Earth's new defense fleet. She is yours to command, Timothy Walker." As Timothy boarded the ship, he felt a profound connection, as if the Phoenix was an extension of his own body and will. The ship's systems came to life at his touch, displays flickering with information in a language he somehow understood instinctively. "All systems online." A new AI voice, distinct from Gaia, reported, "Awaiting your orders, Commander." Timothy took a deep breath, steeling himself for what was to come. "Launch sequence initiated. Let's show Admiral Krell what humanity is truly capable of." The Phoenix rose from its berth, joining a growing armada of newly created Earth vessels. As they ascended into the upper atmosphere, Timothy saw Krell's fleet engaging Earth's combined forces. The battle was fierce, but Earth's ships were struggling against the superior Iridian technology. "This is Commander Walker to all Earth forces," Timothy broadcast. "Reinforcements have arrived. Stand fast." The Phoenix led the charge, its advanced weapons tearing through Iridian shields like paper. Timothy's tactical training, combined with the ship's incredible capabilities, allowed him to outmaneuver Krell's forces at every turn. As the battle raged in space, Timothy received an urgent communication from Dr. Stevens. "Commander, we've made a breakthrough. The ancient technology, it can manipulate space-time itself. We're developing a plan to end this conflict decisively, but we need time." "Understood, Doctor. We'll keep them busy up here." Timothy focused on the battle, coordinating Earth's forces with a skill that surprised even him. The Phoenix's cloaking technology allowed them to strike at the heart of Krell's fleet, sowing chaos and confusion. Hours passed in a blur of tactical decisions and intense space combat. Earth's ground forces, now equipped with reverse-engineered weapons, began to push back against the Iridian invaders. The planetary shield, stabilized by Dr. Stevens's efforts, protected major population centers from orbital attacks. Just as the battle reached its peak intensity, with both sides taking heavy losses, another communication came through. "This is Dr. Stevens. We're ready. Brace for impact." A massive wave of energy erupted from Earth, expanding rapidly into space. It washed over both fleets, and for a moment, everything seemed to stand still. When the wave passed, Timothy noticed something strange. The Iridian ships were drifting, their movements uncoordinated. "Phoenix, status report on enemy fleet." The AI responded promptly. Iridian faster-than-light drives and long-range communications appear to be non-functional. They are effectively stranded in our solar system. A grim smile spread across Timothy's face. This was their chance. All Earth forces, this is Commander Walker. The enemy is vulnerable. Press the attack. The Phoenix led a daring assault on Krell's flagship, its cloaking technology allowing them to penetrate deep into the Iridian defenses. As they approached the massive vessel, Timothy prepared for the most crucial phase of the battle. "Prepare boarding parties," he ordered. "We're going to end this, here and now." As the Phoenix latched on to Krell's flagship, Timothy donned his combat suit, ready to lead the charge. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance as he prepared to confront the Iridian leader face to face.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.